Hey guys, up back with another video. This time we got another review. This time we got TNA Lockdown 2014. You got Magnus on the cover right here. So let's have a look, shall we? Let's have a look at the thingy. We got Magnus looking pretty cool cover with Miami in the background. I guess it's Miami because that's where the event was from. Pretty cool stuff. There's the back. Some of the matches, that is a complete lie right there. EC3 versus Bobby Lashley. Did not happen. But yeah, let's get this underway, shall we? We'll get to it when we get to it. First match, we had a six-man tag team match. We had the Bad Influence of Kazarian and Christopher Daniels teaming up with Chris Sabin, taking on, let me get this right, the Great Muta. Sonata, the X Division champion, and Tatsu. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Anyway, it's representing Wrestle One, the Wrestle One promotion that was founded by the Great Muta. So this is like a Japan versus Impact match. So this was pretty cool. It reminded me of the old TNA days where they would have like the World X Cup and all that stuff. But this was like a showcase for the Japan stars from Wrestle One, like the new X Division champion Sonata at the time. And yeah, pretty cool stuff. It was a fine opener, did exactly what it needed to do, and didn't outstay its welcome. And poor Kazarian got freaking misted. Poor dude, like, he got misted, like, he went to run at the Great Muta, and the Great Muta just misted him, and he just went, it was like a massive, it went all over his face, like, it wasn't just in his eyes or whatever, it was like all over his face. It was like, holy crap. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool opener. Then we had was that next? Oh, good God. I forgot about that. We had, in my notes apparently, what was next, we had Rockstar Spud promo, which I thought was going to be a Rockstar Spud promo, where he came out to just introduce Dixie Carter. Dixie Carter came out to the ramp, she went blah, 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 blah. Boring promo, trying to get heat. And it was the wrong kind of heat. I was like, ugh, just get off my screen, you fucking old woman. You know what I mean? Like, ugh, like, I hated Dixie. Like, I hated Dixie Carter. I hated Dixie Carter's storyline around this time. Like, I was like, probably gonna sound very weird here, but I was very, very happy when Bully Ray put her through a table later in 2014. Anyway, we'll get to that. Well, but we won't get to that because Bully never puts her through a table on any of the pay-per-views at the New York taping. So, yeah. One of my favorite TNA moments from 2014 was Bully putting Dixie through a table. I always remember the day. August 7th. Anyway, let's not on about that right now, on about Lockdown 2014. She basically comes out, she cuts a promo, she blah blah blah, as I said. And, she basically guarantees victory, you know, her team in the main event guarantees victory, and she's got an insurance policy from New York. Ooh, I wonder what that could be. And she's banned Jeff Hardy from the building. I wonder how that will work out, a wrestler being banned from the building. That would be interesting. Let's see how that works out. Anyway, next match, the next match on the card, we had Samuel Shaw taking on Mr. Anderson in an escape match. I don't know why it was an escape match. I guess it was because of the finish, I guess. I don't know why. I don't really know why it was an escape match, but it was. Yeah, so Samuel Shaw has been stalking Christy Hemme. He's had an obsession with Christy Hemme, and Mr. Anderson is the protector of Christy Hemme. So, sticking up for Christy Hemme. So, yeah, that's basically the gist of the storyline. Intriguing stuff. Christy Hemme usually does the ring announcing, but for this match, she disappeared and JB did the ring announcing. Samuel Shaw, before the match, threatened to end it professionally. Like, he was going to jump off the cage to the concrete down below, like, so. Weird stuff. Mr. Anderson came out and basically made a joke about ending it, like, you know what I mean? Like, he said, like, oh, it's got to be at least 4 or 5 stories if you're gonna do it, because if you jump off the cage. I'm like, oh, do we really need to do suicide jokes right now? I'm like, oh, wasn't a fan of that. Anyway, the match itself, it was fine. was what it was. The in-ring stuff was okay. I didn't really care too much about it. The story was more intriguing than the actual match itself, and it was just silly nonsense. Like, the ending was silly because Mr. Anderson, Earl Hebner was the fucking ref, and he was in charge of unlocking the cage. So Earl Hebner unlocked the cage, well, tried to unlock the cage, and like, oh, I can't understand, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, fucking Earl Hebner, get the fucking key in the door, you idiot. Anyway, Earl Hebner ended up getting bumped. Mr. Anderson escaped the cage over the top, but Christy, being Christy, being nothing that, her character basically was stupid, went towards the gap in the hole of the cage, where the cameras film in between, and Samuel Shaw was able to pull her through there. So Anderson had to get the key, unlock the cage, get back in the cage to save Christy Emmy. He basically sacrificed victory to save Christy Emmy. And of course, that allowed Samuel Shaw to hit low blow and then put on the double arm choke. I can't remember what it says. It's got a name for it, but I can't remember the thingy. And he puts Anderson to sleep, and then he escapes the cage and wins the match. It was alright, it was okay, but I didn't really care, but the finish was kind of silly. A bit like this feud, really. Next thing we had EC3 cutting a promo. He bragged about what he did to Kurt Angle. He took him out, and Kurt Angle had to have knee surgery. He issues an open challenge to anyone on the current TNA roster. Out comes Bobby Lashley. EC3 says, nope, you aren't on the TNA roster, pal, so you ain't getting the match. So basically, Bobby Lashley beats the fuck out of him and spears him and leaves him laying. It was what it was. Nothing too much to say about it. Nothing too much to say about it, really. Lashley returned. It was a good pop. Good pop for Bobby being back, but that was kind of it. Next match, we had Manic versus the debuting Tigre Uno. This was a good showcase. Sorry, my knee buckled for a moment there. What was I saying? Manic versus Tigre Uno. This was a good showcase match for Tigre Uno, showcasing the debut. The fans didn't seem to care because it was two relatively unknowns, because I don't think Manic was used very much around this time. So yeah. But, it was an alright match. They did X Division stuff, and, yeah, it was fun stuff. Moving on. Not too much to say about that one. Moving on, we have Gunner versus James Storm in a last man standing match. Kind of weird having a last man standing match inside a steel cage, but somehow James Storm and Gunner made it work. Very intense. This was part 3 or part 4 of James Storm has a tag partner that he ends up having an intense feud with. Of course, this feud with Gunner isn't as famous as his other two with Chris Harris and Bobby Roode, but the intensity was still there, and James Storm had another great match. Like he was a heel this one, and very intense, and Gunner gets the win here, and it was pretty good stuff. Too bad that Gunner's a prick now. Anyway, that's it. On to the next match. We have Madison Rayne defending the TNA Knockout Championship against Gayle Kim. Tried to get into this match, but I don't know, something was missing. I don't know what it was. I just couldn't get into it, and they tried their best. Like, they did net breakers off the top rope, and the finish was kind of alright, where Madison Rayne did a spear off the top rope, and it was kind of alright, but I couldn't get into it. The best part about the match was Taz on commentary accidentally said that Madison Rayne, I don't know if he accidentally said it or he was just saying stuff to try to be funny, and I got a chuckle out of it, was he called Madison Rayne Thunderfies, and then he realized what he said, and he was like, I don't mean literally, I mean in strength-wise, I don't mean she's got Thunderfies. And I'm like, yeah, that's a funny line, Taz. So Madison Rayne having Thunderfies. Interesting. Yeah. What else is that's all I got from that match. It was alright. It was okay, but I couldn't get into it. Then we had the co-main event. We have Samoa Joe versus Magnus for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. This was going along perfectly. Like, this was a great World Championship match. And then it got brought down a little bit by the creepy, spooky nonsense with Abyss, where Abyss basically came up from underneath the ring and pulled Samoa Joe under just as Samoa Joe was about to win the world title. He pulled Joe under, and basically Joe kicked his ass. Like, what a great game plan from the Monster Abyss to pull Samoa Joe under, and then Samoa Joe kicked his ass underneath the ring, and then Abyss had to come pop his head up above the ring to get revenge on Samoa Joe, and he ended up getting the better of it, but it completely sucked the crowd out of it. It completely sucked the crowd out of it, and like, yeah, I remember at the time when I first saw it, when it first happened, I was like, man, this is pretty cool. Like, that's a cool spot. But now that this is 8 years later, and I've seen a lot of stuff since then, it's like, that was pretty cheesy. Like, it was pretty cheesy. And anyway, Magnus retained the world title again, and I think it was a great match that was let down by the finish. And then that's all I'll say about that. The new alliance that lasts a month between Abyss and Magnus. Anyway, main event time. We have Team Dixie versus Team MVP. On Team Dixie, we have Bobby Roode, Austin Aries, and the Bromans of Robbie E and Jesse Goddard taking on MVP, Davey Richards, Eddie Edwards, and was supposed to be Jeff Hardy, but he was banned from the building, so we don't know who the fourth man was, brother. And anyway, as I said before, Leave a Lockdown matches are always great. This one was really cool in particular, good stuff. And then towards the end, as the last participant came in, freaking the debut of Willow, Jeff Hardy's alter ego Willow, debuted, and it was crazy. I have some thoughts about Willow. Willow to me, like, it had potential to be something good. Willow the Whispered, like Jeff Hardy's alter ego. It's just that he was dressed too much like Jeff. I know it is Jeff Hardy, but he didn't really stand out as like, oh, this creepy new character. It just looked like Jeff Hardy in a mask. I know it was Jeff Hardy in a mask, but I hope you know what I mean by that. Like, it didn't feel like I wanted to like it. Like, it seemed pretty cool by the vignettes, but it was like, when he was doing all of Jeff Hardy's same moves and all that stuff. Anyway, enough about that. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Anyway, the ending came where the insurance policy that Dixie was talking about was Big Bad Bully Ray, and he was the special guest referee. And then it was a swerve because basically Bully Ray, just as Bobby Roode was about to put MVP through the table, Bully Ray turned around and stopped Bobby Roode from putting him through the table and turned on Team Dixie, allowing Team MVP to get the win. Big shocking turn. A year after Bully Ray had shocked the world by winning the world championship and joining Aces and Eights. Well, I say shocked the world, but I think most of us saw it coming. Bully Ray turns babyface, and his rivalry with Dixie Carter and the Carters going forward was started here at Lockdown 2014. So in overall, and we all lived that happy ever after. So overall, when it comes to this pay-per-view, it was a mixture, it was a mixed bag. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Some of it was good, some of it was bad. It was just the usual. It felt like a usual pay-per-view. So anyway, that's going to be it, guys, for now. Tell me what you thought in the comments. Tell me what you thought of this pay-per-view. And tell me if I was generous or not. And I'll see you guys later on. And I'm out.